Assalamualaikum. So, have you had to move from one place to another multiple times? How about do you feel about this change? Moving to a new place is difficult for some people because it is a rare thing around us. But we also have to face what is going to happen in our life. So today, I am going to deliver a speech on culture shock. What is culture shock? Culture shock refers to the feelings that belong to uncertainty, confusion, or worry that people may have at the same time when they move to an existing new nation or encountering existing new culture or surroundings. This happens to be an existing typical cultural adjustment that occur during the same time that an existing result belong to being inside of an existing new place. When people relocate to another city or country, such as when retiring overseas, they may experience culture shock. Culture shock can also occur when individuals go to vacation, retire, travel for work, or study abroad. International students studying abroad in another country for a semester, for example, may face cultural adjustment owing to unfamiliarity with the weather, local culture, language, food, and values. When a person leaves the comfort of their home and familiar surrounding and goes to an unfamiliar environment, they experience culture shock. The adjustment phase can be rather stressful, especially if the two areas are drastically different, such as relocating from a small countryside to a huge major city or another nation. Culture shock can also occur when relocating from one location to another within the same nation. I've done with the first main point, which is what is culture shock. Moving on to the next point, which is the fourth stage of culture shock. People who experience culture shock may go through four phases that I will describe. The honeymoon stage. The honeymoon stage, the honeymoon period happens to be frequently referred to during the same time that the first stage. This happens to be because individuals happen to be overjoyed to exist inside their new surroundings. They often regard it during the same time that an existing adventure on the possible that someone happen to be just saying that is going to be belong to an existing short period that belong to time. This initial thrill may define the entire experience. However, even two people assume it to last. The honeymoon period that is going to belong individual on top of existing long-term relocation eventually passes. Next is frustration stage. During the same time, the excitement that belong with being inside of existing new setting wear off, people may get increasingly irritated as well as confused. Fatigue may develop gradually during the same time that an existing result that belongs to misreading other people's behavior discussion as well as method that belong to doing things. During the same time that an existing result, during the moment people may feel confused by an existing new culture, especially on the possible that there happen to be an existing language barrier. Local habit have the ability also become increasingly difficult, as well as formerly simple chores will take longer to do, resulting in tiredness, frustration, irritation, homesickness, sadness, feeling lost, as well as out of that belongs to the place, as well as weariness happen to be some that belong to the symptoms that belong to culture shock. Next is the adaptation stage. Often, the adaptation stage happen to be slow during the same time that people become more comfortable inside of their new surroundings. During the same time that people adjust to new surroundings, the feelings that belong to irritation begin to fade. Also, certain cultural signals are going to remain. Individually are going to grow more familiar with them, at least to the point where understanding them become much easier. Next is the acceptance stage. People happen to be more able to experience as well as enjoy their new house during the acceptance or healing stage. Typically, their belief as well as attitude towards the new surrounding change, resulting in improved self-confidence as well as an existing restoration that belong to their sense of that belong to humor. Typically, the difficulties as well as misunderstanding that we during frustration stage have been removed, allowing individual to become more comfortable as well as happy. Most people undergo growth during this period, as well as they may modify their previous behavior as well as acquire manners that were in their new society. The new cultural value as well as attitude may not exist as fully understood at this time. Still, the awareness may sink inside the total comprehension is it required to operate as well as prosper in the new environment. We have learned about 4 stages of culture shock. Next, I will continue with the next point, which is how to deal with culture shock. Time as well as habit help in dealing with culture shock, except for people who may reduce the impact as well as speed recovering. Among the way that people can done to deal with this problem of culture shock is by being open-minded and learning about new country or culture shock to understand the reason for cultural difference. We need to have an open-minded to everything that is happening around us. For example, we need to learn the local culture of the community in the new place so that we can get used to new place. Next thing is we can do to deal with this culture shock is not to think too much about home and compare it to the new environment. This can be avoided by comparing the current environment with the environment at home, because in the new place we will feel different things. The next way happen to be not to cover up yourself up and exist as an active as well as socialize with the locals. This can have an existing big impact on top of us, because being active as well as socializing with the local can be strengthen our understanding of the locals. So basically, I have explained what is culture shock, the 4 stage of culture shock, and how to overcome culture shock. Is culture shock good or bad? Also, it may appear to have a negative connotation. Culture shock is a common experience that many individuals go through when they relocate or travel. While it might be difficult, people who can settle their issues and adjust to new surrounding. Their new surrounding are frequently able to overcome culture shock. As well as a result, cultural adaptation might result in personal growth and positive experience.